This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and say hi to a couple of great big old nerds. Actually, say hi to three great big old nerds. It's Icon 40, which is the Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area science fiction convention, and joining me is one of the, well, the only person, or one of the few, who has perfect attendance.
I am the only one.
The only one.
The only survivor.
Denny Lynch, who you know here at KCCK, is co-host of Talking Pictures, and also Jed Peterson, who is a history professor here at Kirkwood.
Yep. But
also writes sci-fi and fantasy under the pen name of Jed Quinn.
Yes.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Glad that you're both here.
Happy to be here.
So Icon is as I said, it's the sci-fi convention that is now in its 40th year. So I know there's some special 40th anniversary stuff, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Just a few years ago, I would have said, Denny, tell me what a science fiction convention is, because nobody knows. But these days, with the big Comic-Cons and things like that, most people kind of have at least a general idea of what a sci-fi, fantasy, or comic convention is like. So what I'm going to say is, how has the con changed over the years? Because it's much different. We were talking off the air before we went on about the kind of the nerdifying of pop culture. There was a time when, if you read comic books or you knew who the Avengers were or Spider-Man, you'd get beat up and stuffed into a locker. And now that's very much a part of everybody's lexicon. So how has that, or has it changed conventions like this?
Certainly the media is probably the biggest driver. The Star Wars movies were a gigantic influence. Anime has become extraordinarily popular. In fact, Mindbridge, who does Icon, also does Anime Iowa, and they're drawing 4,000 to 5,000 people every year. Icon is a smaller convention, about 500, but people show up in costumes. There's a lot of, the new movement is steampunk, where people try to recreate the 1800s, the 1880s, and they wear gears and all kinds of extra mechanical things and multiple layers of lenses on their glasses and so on. Television drives it. Things like Big Bang Theory are huge. Firefly, with its short run, brought in a lot of fans. And every couple of years, a new show comes along that catches a lot of attention. Doctor Who, since the revival about 10 years ago, has become a massive driver. There's a huge interest in British fan action there, too. And
tell me a little bit about the special guests who are going to be here, because it's pretty exciting. You really pulled out all the stops for the 40th anniversary.
Right. We're bringing in a fellow I met at my first convention in Los Angeles in 1973. His name is David Gerrold. Most people will know him as the creator of tribbles for the original Star Trek. In fact, I bought a tribble from him at that convention. He's also a gay activist. He adopted a son, wrote a book about it, and they made a movie called The Martian Child. He's done a lot of other TV work and a lot of novels, including the Chtor series I've not read. He's very active on Facebook, so he will bring a lot of interest. He was just recently the main guest of honor at the World Science Fiction Convention in Spokane, Washington. Sarah Clemens is an artist from the Phoenix, Arizona area, who does lots of very photorealistic paintings, many of them featuring a cat and a dragon, Magnus and Loki, having various adventures in space and fantasy. She also does beautiful portraiture work and so on. She taught me how to play the theremin at a previous convention. She's a lot of fun, high energy, and she'll be docenting some of the art tours at the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art that's going on, tying into Icon 40. Ann Leckie is coming up. She is from St. Louis. She won the Hugo and Nebula Award for Best Novel last year. Main character in her book, you don't know what gender this person is. And we have the McCandless girls, sisters from Los Angeles, who are major players in the costuming genre. So those are some of the main ones. We've got 30 or 40 other writers, including Mr. Quinn.
And so, Jed, were you a writer first or a sci-fi fantasy fan first?
I think both, really. I mean, you start, anyone who's a writer knows you start when you're like 3. You care about that. But I grew up. I was 8 when Star Wars came out, and that just changed everything for my entire life. And I became a huge fan of the whole genre. I think that's the wonderful thing, tying into what you said, is that a place like Icon is a fantastic place for me to go, because sometimes when you really enjoy science fiction and fantasy and those kind of things, you still, even with modern day society, you can still kind of feel a little isolated. And so it's wonderful to go to a place where everybody there has the same passion, the same excitement. So, I look forward to this all year, coming to this convention where you can meet a whole bunch of other people that take it to that level that you really have as well.
As a as a local author, is it fun to get to go to one of these things and be a writer as well as a fan?
Yes, it's wonderful. The thing that I love about Icon is that there's no judging. Everybody loves each other. You show up, you say, "Oh, I like Doctor Who." People go, "Oh, that's great." You're going to find a group of people that like it. You're going to say, "I like Star Trek." You're going to find a group of people that like it. And when you walk around and you say, "Oh, I wrote this book," people just really respect that, because you're trying to add to the genre. You're trying to add to the world that's there, and everybody that's there is creative, and that's what I love. People are dressed up in costumes. People are doing art. People are there's nobody that, and so you talk to people and they go, "Oh, you're an author. I wish I could do something creative." And you look at their costume and you go, "Well, I think you're doing something creative. You're doing all right." So that's the neat thing, is the Icon is kind of more focused than most cons towards authors and the writing process. There's a lot of panels. There's readings all day, all night Friday, all day Saturday, Sunday. You're going to find authors reading their material.
You're both doing readings too,
yeah,
as I
absolutely.
recall.
Right.
And so you can go and be a part of that. And so it's neat to be kind of on the other end of that, to be the person presenting their work. But it's great to also go and see what everybody else is doing. And I think everybody walks away feeling energized and excited to continue whatever creative processes that they're working on.
Now, this has been running for a couple of weeks, but the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art is running a special sci-fi and fantasy art exhibit for the next several months in association with the 40th anniversary of Icon. So tell us a little bit about that.
It's called Out of This World. After Icon last year, it occurred to me, we've been around 40 years. We're going to be downtown at the Doubletree Hotel this year. We're a block and a half from the art museum, so I walked over to visit with Sean, and we talked about it, and I suggested, what about doing an exhibit of art from Icon's previous artist guests of honor? And he said, that's an interesting idea. So we did some research. We have right now, I think, 27 pieces hanging up in one of the galleries. We think this is the first time in history that a museum has done an exhibit around a convention. Nobody's ever done this before. It opened a couple weeks ago. They're adding another exhibit on the other floor from an artist in Iowa City whose name, I'm sorry, I don't know, but he is illustrating a children's book. Chapter 1 involved making 61 watercolor paintings.
Okay, so now that's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a new artist, a new writer in the genre doing children's science fiction, and I'm excited to see that. This exhibit runs, I think, until January. And, free admission at the museum on Saturdays, and you can go most every day except Monday when they're closed.
So you can go anytime, but I would suggest going the weekend of October 17th, because there will be lots of other people probably milling around in fun costumes.
I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we have not said when the convention is and how people can register. So
Okay, it's Icon 40. The website is iowa-icon.com. You can go there, everything about registration, the guests. The hotel rooms are booked already. Sorry, you're too late. But we're excited to be downtown. There's a lot more interesting restaurants and other things to try out. So we're hoping to give fans from other cities a chance to see that area. Registration, I think it's like $50 or $60 for the whole weekend.
And I think it goes up maybe October 1st.
It's $45 now, and October 1st it goes up to $65.
Thank
So
you.
just a few more days to get the early registration.
I just registered yesterday. So
Very good. Okay.
I figured I should do that.
Talking about writing, Jed, one of the things that has been a part of this convention the last couple of years has been a writer's workshop for students, the DreamCon. Tell me about that, because you participated.
Oh my gosh, what a fantastic thing! I would have killed to do something like this when I was in high school. What it is it's an opportunity on that Friday afternoon all the authors that are there, not all, most of them that are there for
already
the
there.
weekend, we're already here. We have a great signing Thursday night at Barnes & Noble. So most of us will be here Thursday night. So Friday, we're just kind of milling around. So there was a great idea to bring in high school students and let them sit down and actually have meaningful conversations with authors. And so, yeah, we've done this a couple of years, and I absolutely love it. Sitting down, and it's kind of a way to pay it forward and to kind of say, you know, you see these young teenage kids who really care about writing and love the genre and want to be a part of it, and you can give them tips and talk about how to get published and how to work with an antagonist and how to, you know, set up things and pacing and all the different kind of components that go into the craft. And the kids just love it. They just think it's the best thing ever to be sitting there with Joe Haldeman and to be, you know, oh wow, I'm getting this incredible knowledge, and they leave really excited. And I've actually kept in touch with some of them over the last couple of years, and they've sent me stuff, and I've worked with them. So it's just a great experience. If any high school kid wants to go, I think a lot of schools, I know my kids go to Prairie schools, and they take a couple buses. You know, so if anybody wants to go, talk to your administrator at school. They can get them out of school and come.
Can I add that it's really hard to get information about this to school teachers? We can't get past administrators. It's unless you know someone in a school, it's hard to let them know. And we normally, and it's not just high school, it's college students too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a privacy thing, and if we pass this out for you, we'd have to pass it out for everybody. So you do kind of rely on channels like this to get the word out to teachers and students and parents and grandparents and families.
And it's roughly a 1-to-1 ratio between students and the professionals, the writers, the editors, the publishers.
You get a couple hours with some fantastic authors
who have done it, who've gotten into the field.
Yes.
So it's Icon, which is the weekend of October 16,
17, 18.
16, 17,
at the
18.
Doubletree.
Begins on Thursday night with the free signing at Barnes & Noble, which will feature
6 o'clock.
6 till 8, I think.
Which will feature nearly all of the authors who will be there, including Jed Quinn. And me.
Yes.
I'll be there. And then the DreamCon on Friday, which is for students. So if you know a student interested in writing, check that out. And then the convention all weekend long. And if for some reason you just can't imagine yourself getting caught dead in a convention where people are running around in weird costumes all weekend long, you can still go to the exhibit at the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art.
And you can buy one-day memberships. And if you need to just kind of walk in and look around, you can ask, and sometimes we can give you a free tour.
And again, the website, Denny, is
Iowa-icon.com.
Well, one of my favorite weekends as well. So thank you to the two of you for all the hard work that you've done getting this organized for all the rest of us, and looking forward to it.
I am too.
Thank you.